This is the gateway to what has become Europe's saddest city. Only a few weeks after this film was shot, Prague became the focal point of world attention. Czechoslovakia has once again become the stamping ground of power politics, the very thing the Czechs had tried to prevent. The Czechs have a sad character. They know about revolution, invasion, occupation. Their country was carved out of the conference table of Versailles and ever since has been on a knife's edge between East and West. But earlier this year, they seem to be at last enjoying the fruits of their own new liberalism. Prague's story has never been more turbulent, and if the Czechs are now more cynical than ever about the intentions of their neighbors, there was gaiety and optimism in spring 1968, when Dubček and his comrades laid down the principles for a new democracy. In spring, there was hope for the new idealism and the bloodless revolution that seemed to sweep away the old guard to make way for an atmosphere of genuine freedom. But even the faithful who went to pray in the Cathedral of St. Vitus were not without fears that the new tide of Czech reforms would be turned aside, if not stemmed altogether. What has happened since those days of optimism cannot take away the dignity of the Czech people or the intensity of their pride in their great capital city. But wherever they look, they are surrounded by the indestructible symbols of the ever-present struggle for power in this part of Europe. Karlstein Castle, built for Karl, Emperor of Germany in the 14th century. Konopiste Castle, once the home of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, whose assassination sparked off the Great War. The Kaiser hunted here when Bohemia was part of the Austrian Empire. The Czechs seem to be haunted by yesterday's ghosts in the midst of the fears of today. The ironies seem built into the very landscape. North of the city, there's a land of rocks and forests called the Bohemian Paradise. The ironic peace and tranquility of such scenes seem cruel. The youth of Czechoslovakia, in the forefront of the new struggle, were too soon to be drinking from the bitter cup of disappointment that their fathers and grandfathers tasted so frequently. Prague is a handsome city. The Czechs are a handsome people. Olenka Berova, a bright young star fated in the West, showed us why Prague is her first love of all the cities she has seen, East or West. This is a pride shared by all young Czechs, as proud of their city as they were hopeful of their own future. The formal small lake of the Karlstein Palace was a favorite spot in more peaceable days, when the talk was of what was possible. As Olinka was keen to point out in the spring, time, despite the fears of some, was definitely on the side of those who hoped for change. Sad at the best of times, the proud city of the Czechs now seems sadder than ever. So short-lived was its exuberance. In April 1968, the citizens of Czechoslovakia were happy enough not to show signs of their inbuilt fears. After all, they seemed to be winning, and most of the world dared to think so too. It's not surprising that during and after the harsh events of summer, those who sought comfort in the great cathedral and the many churches and synagogues throughout the country were more urgent in their prayers for the future, for themselves and their nation. Prague's fates and fortunes have changed many times, but never perhaps as abruptly. Let us hope that this sad city and its people will again enjoy the beauty and the freedom of that spring in 1968.